Hi everyone, hope you're having a good Sunday. We are shortly going to start with our session where we'll be making Christmas cards with natural colors with ingredients in your kitchen. Hello, we'll take a couple of minutes so that everyone who is interested in joining can join along. Hey everyone. Okay, so while we're waiting for people, I thought I can just give you an intro to what the materials are that we'll be using today. It's very simple, it's nothing complicated. This is stuff that you would most likely already have in your kitchen. And the idea is to use something that we have and not needing to buy things, because these are like the most zero waste things that you can do. So sure, hey Kajal. Okay, sure. Before we get started with the activity, I'll be happy to tell you a little bit more about me as well. So I am Manya. I work a lot with natural materials, with natural colors, and I enjoy rummaging through like kitchen ingredients, and also going on nature walks and finding things like just different plants, different leaves, flowers, things that are growing around us in abundance, and to use them to create colors, to make art. We can use them to dye clothes, we can use them as food coloring. There are so many things that we can do with natural colors. So that's what I basically do. I explore and experiment with natural resources to derive colors and try to replace synthetic and chemical dyes in every aspect of our life. So that's a little bit about me. I do this in my everyday life, and I also show other people how to do it through workshops and sessions like these. So thanks to everyone who was able to join us today. And I'll quickly go on to showing you what we've got here today. But don't worry about not having these, okay, because you can use whatever's at home. So I've just got some beetroot peels, got some palak, spinach. You can use the leafy greens, anything that you have at home, even the stems will do. So try to use as much waste as you possibly can. So what I've done is I've just processed these into juice. Okay, so I've got some spinach juice and some beetroot juice. Even if you don't have the juice right now, it's fine. We've picked these colors because it's Christmas time, and these are kind of the colors that remind us of Christmas as well. Got some corn flour. In as we go along, I'll tell you what it's for, why we need it. And I've got some warm water here. Also got a couple of potatoes for us to try and do some carving and make some prints, knife, and some paper for us to experiment with and make some cards. So this is what we've got today. I've also got the beetroot pulp that I've taken out. We can explore using that as well. So there's really no need to throw anything at all, right? We've kept the peels, we've got the waste part of the veggies, the stems, everything. Okay. So that's just a quick roundup of what we've got. But honestly, if you don't have any of these, also don't worry. You can just grab some turmeric powder or coffee powder from your kitchen and join me. So just curious, does anyone here have these ingredients, or you're able to quickly run to your kitchen and get something? In that case, you can try this activity along with me, or do you prefer to just watch right now and do it later on your own? What do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. What we'll do is, anyway, we'll wait for maybe a few more seconds before I get started off. In case anyone else wants to join and try the activity, we'll do that. So has anyone here worked with natural materials, with natural colors, or even kitchen ingredients before? I'm curious to know a little bit about you. So if you can tell me a little bit, then we can get started. Okay, we have some new people. Just to give you an idea, we are going to be starting with our activity of making natural colored Christmas cards very shortly. So I'm just going to set up my camera so we can start. Give me 1 second to do that. And as we start, I mentioned to you about the ingredients that we'll need. Those of you who joined just a minute ago, even if you don't have those ingredients, you can use any vegetable peels, anything that you have in your kitchen. If you don't have anything else, just grab some haldi powder, turmeric powder, and you can use that. And grab some paper. The idea is to use whatever you already have. Don't go buying things specifically for this. Okay, so Richa's saying that she's tried working with natural colors. She's used some flowers in school. Nice. Okay, so you can use flowers for this activity as well. You can use anything. We thought of using kitchen ingredients because everyone has access to them, but some people don't have access to flowers. All right, so I'm just changing my camera the way it's tilted so you can see all of the things that we need, that we'll be using. Okay, so one of the first things that you can try is whenever you have some leftover things, some veggies that are going bad, or even waste parts and peels like this, right? You never have to throw them. You can always make good use of them. So I'll be showing you 3 different techniques in the session today, and you can use whatever is easy for you. And if you have kids around, you can also get them involved, or you can watch today and show it to them later, because it's a really easy thing for anyone above the age of 3 to try. Yeah, so one of the first things that you can do is just work with the peels. So basically all you do is you take it into your hands, you ball it up a little bit and hold it like a crayon and rub it. Okay, you will be surprised like how easily the color comes out. Yeah, so the same thing you can do with the beetroot. Even when you're cutting beetroot, you might have noticed how much it stains your hands, right? It comes onto your hands very easily, the color. So clearly it will also come onto the paper. So you can already see we've got our Christmas color palette right here. You can try making different kinds of strokes. So this is just like a straight line, right? But if you were to hold it a little bit more carefully, you will be able to draw more easily with it. So yeah, here, hang on, you'll be able to see it better now. So you can draw shapes, you can even color inside. Yeah, so you can do all kinds of things. It just takes a little bit of practice, I would say, to understand how it works, because it's a little bit different from like holding a pencil or holding a crayon. Yeah, so is there anyone here who's able to try this with us today as you're watching it, or do you plan to do it later? Because I'm guessing some people may watch this later as well and try to do it in their own time, which is also cool. I'd love to see what you all create once you get playing with it. So the beetroot peels are very easy to work with actually. So if you do something like folding them between your fingers, you can easily work with them like a crayon. Yeah, so this is just the basic way for you to make shapes. Richa says she's going to do it later with her kids. Okay, awesome, Richa. I look forward to seeing what you all make. Another thing that I wanted to show you is if you have like a cut up piece of a beetroot, right? You can also use that as a crayon. So let me show it to you on another side of this paper. So I've got like a little cube here. So I can use one side of it to draw. So I'll get a thin line. And it's also easier to hold compared to the peel, right? So you can use it like this. It works exactly like a crayon. You would be amazed at how easy it is to use. You can make all kinds of lines. You can make shapes. Do you all have any questions about using kitchen ingredients? That also you can put it in the comments, because I know some of you may not have the material to try it right now. That's fine. So it's just something that you can even introduce to like 3-year-old kids, toddlers. They would have a lot of fun with this. So that's one side that we use, right? The side that you can make thinner lines. You can also use the other side to get this kind of an effect where you're making thicker strokes, and you can get a textured effect as well. So what I'm giving you is basically ideas on different things you can do for your cards, right? So you can make a card with a background that has this texture. You can make a card where you just make shapes with the thinner strokes, thinner lines. It really depends on what you feel like doing with it. Similarly, if you've got the leafy stem of the palak, you can use that to draw thin lines. You can use that to color a whole page, however you feel like it. Okay, so I'm saying Christmas cards, but you can really use this anytime, and it's a very therapeutic activity also, because you're just taking something that would have gone to waste, like the peels, or even say like you have a beetroot in the fridge and it's kind of going bad and it's become soft. You can use it for color, for making any kind of art. You can do it at any time. You don't have to do much of a prep. Like even making the juice is like an optional step. You can just take it like this and use it. Okay, so that's one technique. Another one that I wanted to show you all is, we'll take a fresh piece of paper for that. What I wanted to show you is how easily you can color the entire paper. One is to make a texture and draw on it. The other is, let me actually cut out a small strip to show you. We can color the paper by dyeing it. So you can take a brush and paint on your paper, or today I didn't plan on using a brush because it's a lot of fun to just use your fingers. Simmer is asking, does the color take time to dry up? Not really. It takes just a few minutes. So for instance, you can even take your fingers and say like you wanted to make a bookmark. You can just have fun like finger painting on it. Okay, and you'll see it dries up in just a few minutes. It's sort of like watercolors only. It doesn't take that long. So you do something like this. Yeah, this is one thing that you can try. You can do this on the entire card also. I'm just showing you different strips, so you can have ideas and do whatever feels like fun to you. But I highly recommend finger painting because it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it is a lot of fun for kids, Kimsha. You can try it with kids and even for adults. It's not only that kids can do it. Anyone would have fun doing it. Okay, so another thing I wanted to show you is, if you wanted to create like a background texture or an effect, you can actually dip your paper in the juice and it creates a really nice effect. So not for too long, because then your paper will get soggy depending on, again, like how thick your paper is. Mine is a little thicker than regular A4 paper. Okay, so I've got this. Similarly, you can dip it into your green as well. So what you would do is, this will take maybe 20 minutes or so to dry up. And once you let it dry, then you can also draw on it, you can write on it, you'll have a colored base to work with. Yeah, so we've looked at these two. And if you're using your hands to paint, you can use them to draw, make shapes. If you're using your fingers. Otherwise, if you're using a brush, use your brush and use it like regular paint. That will also work. You don't have to do anything that different. If you have access to like some grass or leaves, you can also use those to paint. That's also a lot of fun. So you try different methods, you try different techniques. It's all very intuitive, there's no like right or wrong answer per se. Like you can do whatever you want with it. Another thing that I really enjoy doing is just dropping a little bit on the paper, like very small amounts, and then letting it flow. Or you can even blow on it and let that make different texture. So whatever you would try with your regular paints, you can also try with these dyes. So let it flow, blow on it, do whatever you like, so you can have different textured papers. Okay, so you can just make a big mess and see what you like. So So these are all like for textures, backgrounds and things like that. So I also wanted to show you a third way, which is where you can make prints. Okay, so once I show you all these, the idea is you can combine them, you can do whatever you like with it and try and use them to make art or to make cards. So you saw coloring the entire paper, you saw creating effects, you also saw like drawing simple shapes and things like that. Yeah, here's the other side. And ways to color it as well. The other way is, I'm sure some of you have done it in some art class or craft class at some point in your life, but have you tried vegetable carving? So at this point I'm just picking up the potato and cutting it in half, because we can make our own stamps with potatoes. So if you have a potato that's going bad, this is a great way to use it. Anyone here has tried vegetable carving to make prints and stamps? So I'm just going to try and make a simple one, which is a triangle. So you just decide what shape you want. If it's a slightly complex one, take a pencil, draw it onto the potato and then cut it. So in this case, I don't know how clearly you can see it on this, but yeah, I'm just try and make your cut at least half an inch deep so that it's easy for you to take it out. Oh, one of you already used this and one of you have used 4-leaf clovers. Yeah, you can do this with any leaf as well. So I'll show you in a moment how we will do that. Kimcha has an idea that she shared. We can try thread painting also. Yeah, that's a great idea. You can definitely do that. So once you've done your carving, you have to just gently try and get the piece out that you've cut. Just move it around in all directions and then you'll be able to take it out. Or if you have any interesting shaped leaves around your house, you can even grab something like that. You don't have to spend this time carving a veggie, but we thought of keeping it like all kitchen ingredients for today so that everyone has easy access. Tip, try a Swiss knife for detail carving. Thank you, that is a good tip. For some reason I'm struggling to get this out. I've broken my potato in the process. So don't do what I did, be patient. Yeah, okay, it's finally come out. But I broke this. Okay, anyway, it's a decent triangle. So what I'm going to do is dip it into my dye. Make sure it's evenly coated. And then try to make the prints. Right, so then you can make like an entire, imagine making like a gift wrapping paper with this print. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you can't see it. I'll move it over. So it would look really nice to have gift wrap paper with prints like this, and you can make them on your own. So you can see that they're a little bit light because we're dipping it into beetroot juice. Yeah, you can also carve the outer part of the potato. You can do it whichever way, whatever works for you. I felt more comfortable doing the inside, like that's what I'm used to, but you can do it whichever way. Okay, so this is if you're directly putting it in the dye. There's one more way where I wanted to show you where you can get a slightly better consistency. So what you do is, this is why I had asked you all to bring the corn flour. So you add just a little bit of it, of your dye. Okay, ideally if your dye is hot, then this will work even better, but even if it's not hot, it's fine. Take a little bit of corn flour and the ratio is sort of like, if you have 1 cup of dye, then you can use a couple of like a half a tsp of corn flour, or I would actually go by how it feels. So just notice how your dye is becoming thicker. So you know that corn flour is used for thickening, right? Like in soups and things like that. So you can see how this is flowing versus how that's more watery. So the idea of using the corn flour is to get a thicker, like a paste consistency, so that it's easy for you to make stamp and patterns with the thicker material rather than the watery material. Your color will become a little lighter, but it'll be easier for you to get the print. So let me show you what that looks like. Then we can compare also. So now if I dip this in the thicker liquid and make a stamp, you'll see that it's registering more clearly than the other one. I hope you can see that. Yeah, can you see the difference? That one is much lighter and one is much more clear. It's because the corn flour has thickened the mixture. You can even add a little bit more if you want it to be a thicker print. It really depends on what you are looking to create. I'm just gonna grab a leaf that I wanted to show you this print with. I'll be right back. So I've got like a fern here, and it's sort of like the shape of a Christmas tree also, so that's nice. So let's take a fresh piece of paper and try that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this mixture, which is thickened with corn flour, into this tray because it's a little easier to work with. You can see the corn flour settled at the bottom, so you just want to mix it again. So when you're doing this with a slightly larger thing like a leaf, it's good to have it in a tray so that it can collect the color. You can add a little bit more corn flour. The idea is for it to not be too liquidy so that it can collect the color. Okay, now let's try this, dipping the leaf, making sure that you can get an even coating. And then just make sure you shake off the excess also, because you don't want it to be too watery. Just make sure that it's covered, the back of the leaf, the part that you're trying to make an imprint with, is covered. Shake off the excess. Since my hands are messy, I'm using the spoon to help with making the imprint. I have a feeling because the leaf is much more of a delicate form than the potato, I'm not sure if this consistency would have worked for the leaf. So it's a little bit of trial and error at first. You may have to do 1 or 2 prints to see if it's working for you when you're using a leaf, but you can always try. And if it's not working, then just make your mixture thicker. In this case it didn't work, so let's actually make it thicker. So I'm going to take a little bit more of this juice and a lot more corn flour. So imagine like if it was kind of like the texture of acrylic paint, almost like an acrylic paint solution, then it would be easy for you to get it on. and it wouldn't like it wouldn't just fall off, like be dripping off the leaf. Okay, so this is a bit thicker, so this might work better. We can try it with the potato first to make sure. Yeah, this is much better already. I think it could be a little bit thicker. So I'll add a little more corn flour and then we'll try again. So notice how it becomes thicker as you keep adding the corn flour. Because there isn't an exact recipe, because it depends on like how thick your mixture is to begin with. But the closest indication I can give you is that it should feel thicker than watercolor. It should be a little more like poster paint, yeah, for you to get this imprint that I'm talking about. So let's try this again. I think this one would have turned out a lot better. It still needs a little bit more corn flour, so I'm going to try one more variation where it's more pasty. At this point also, if you dip your finger in it and you try and do like you paint on paper, you'll see that the consistency is really nice for finger painting. So a lot of times, like young kids really like playing with this texture. So something a little bit thicker than this would be good for stamping and printing with stencils or with leaves or with vegetables. You can try that. You can also use a paintbrush simmer. So anything, you can use anything. So for example, if I wanted to paint with this leaf, you can also do that using these. That will create a really beautiful effect as well. So for example, if you just dip this in your paint and let it flow, you'll get really nice effects with that as well. So you can use anything as a drawing and writing instrument. You can take some grass, you can use paint brushes, use whatever you have around you. Yeah. So let's try this again, dipping the leaf, making sure that the paint is on one side. Shake off the excess and then see if your imprint is working. Yeah, so it's definitely getting closer to the consistency that you would want for making prints. Do we have any questions about using these colors, how they work? I guess one thing that people do ask me quite often is how long they last. So think of it like, like making beetroot juice or spinach juice. You wouldn't keep it in your fridge for more than a day, more than 2 days. So these are similar, like they're meant to be made and used within a couple of days. if you, for example, you want to make and keep a batch, you can also store them in the freezer. Although it's so simple to make them, like you can just make them within 10-15 minutes whenever you need it. That's one. A lot of people also do ask how they interact and how they work if you're keeping this, keeping a painting. Like say you've dyed this paper and you're going to keep it. People wonder if that's going to attract some mold or some fungus or something. Usually no, like unless you're keeping it in a very like a damp place, nothing usually happens to it. The color settles on its own. There's nothing really to worry about. But it does tend to change over time because these are all natural colors and they do tend to interact with the environment. They fade when they're exposed to sunlight. So there are a couple of things to consider there. That it's not going to be exactly looking the same way, the day you made it. It'll look different after a few days. But if there are any other questions, I'll be happy to take them. I've got a different leaf here because that leaf was being a little tricky to work with. Let's see, this how it works with a thicker leaf. Because I think because that leaf was so fine, it wasn't picking up all the color. But let's see how it is with this one. So just shake off the excess. And you can use your fingers or a paintbrush to make sure that you've got like an even coating on this, and then you place it. Oh, it's like a big heart. It's so cute. So you can repeat this as many times as you want once you've got a shape that you like. So I'm showing you with beetroot and spinach, but honestly you can use anything. You can do the same thing with turmeric powder. You can do the same thing with coffee decoction, with leftover tea grounds, making a concoction out of it. Yeah, anything that you have in your kitchen that, before throwing it away, you can think twice and you can make prints like this. And if there's a little bit leftover color on your leaf, you may be able to make 2 prints with 1 dip. Just explore. Then you're seeing more of the veins of the leaf. So it just depends on the effect that you're going for. Okay, so I have covered like all the techniques that I wanted to share with you today. I'll be happy to take any questions if you all have, or any ideas. I'm happy to see you all, even though you weren't able to do the activities, that you were very engaged and also sharing tips. So thank you for that. I'm sure it'll be helpful for the people who are watching it later as well. I look forward to seeing you, seeing what you make. So if you do try it, tag us and show us what you've made. We'd love to see. How do you use leftover tea leaves to make color? So what you can do is you can just add a little bit of water, enough to cover the tea leaves. So it depends on the tea leaves again, not all of them may have a lot of color. So pick the ones that are going to give you color. And I know, for example, like coffee grounds can be used more than once, right? But maybe not all tea leaves can be used, and maybe the color won't be as pigmented. So choose things that will be pigmented so that you have a bright or a vibrant source of color to work with. So you just boil it until you get the color that you like, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Then you strain out the solid part, and then you repeat this. You do this, you make it pasty if you want by adding corn flour. Okay, so that is about all of the techniques. I'm going to put them all in one place so you can see again, like a quick recap, or even for the people who joined a little bit later. So we looked at how you can use kitchen ingredients to create different textures and colors and shapes, and even prints. So one is, just painting with your fingers, using them as crayons, dyeing the entire paper in using a juice or even a coffee, some kind of a concoction. And then either you carve with vegetables, or you can use veggies, you can use a potato, you can even use okra, like you can use bhindi that has a beautiful shape on its own, the cross section of it, to create these different shapes. Yeah, I can show you the green. So I think my spinach puree was a little grainy. Otherwise, you can get a more, a color without so much texture. Although I don't mind the texture, I think it looks kind of nice. It depends on what you're going for. It's a really nice green. Haven't used the green much, so you can. It also smells really nice working with all of these. Another thing that you all can do if you don't have any extra fresh veggies, or veggies that you can spare for this, is you can even use kitchen spices. You can use chili powder, turmeric powder, cinnamon powder, any of the masala powders that you have. Just add a little bit of hot water to make them into a paste. And then you can do the same thing with them. Okay, do you guys have any questions? If so, I can pause for a minute and answer those now. I'm done with the demo bit, so I'm going to come back to my face here. Hi. Okay, so I wanted to check if you all have any questions before we sign off for the day. I'd love to see what you all try. And it doesn't just have to be for Christmas, because if it's not something that you celebrate but you want to use these techniques, go ahead and do that. I'm just going to scroll through the chat once to see if I've missed any questions. And in case you've asked something that I haven't answered, please do point it out, but I don't think I've missed anything. Okay, yeah, I've just gone through it. I don't think I've missed anything. So, yeah, I think that brings us to a wrap for today's session. I'm really glad you could all join. And for those of you who are watching this later, enjoy. I hope you get some time to try this by yourself or with your family, and we look forward to seeing what you create. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you shortly. See you. I'm going to be ending this, but we'll save this as a video so that you can go back to it when you're ready to try. Bye everyone.